We begin with a gasp as each of you realize, one by one, that Cristobal is gone. And you see Cristobal's, which you can only assume is his soul, float up and then quickly zip down towards his chest, where his mirror has fallen out of his shirt pocket, and it gets sucked down into the reflection or the reflecting glass on the mirror. You glance over at Saint, and she's staring in horror at her own arm and shoulder as it begins to writhe and wriggle, as something is actually eating away inside of her, and you can see the necrosis starting to bubble up on her skin.
My arm is starting to decay.
If we go back, then we can decide what we want to do from the safety of...
If we go back, we might lose any chance we have of getting Oliver back.
We need to help Saint and Cristobal.
All of you, without even having to roll perception, can hear bum bum bum, bum 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 bum, bum bum bum, da-dum.
KoKo, let's hide our wounds for this person. I don't want them to know that we're hurt. That's a good idea.
Not that way, Mammut. Over here.
Hello there.
Oh.
For doing this.
Oh, well, I wasn't expecting to meet anyone out here.
Ditto.
Yes. I'm just a traveling merchant.
What sort of items?
Oh, various bits and bobbles. I'm Master Failshin.
Do you have any medical supplies? It's wrapped up. You can only see just bits of pus coming out.
I have quite a few cures and potions and salves. Perhaps this will help. And as he brings it out, you notice that he's got a perfectly lacquered pine cone.
I only have 10 gold, but I really need this.
I'll do you one better. How about a bit of hair?
She pulls her hair aside and gives him a lock.
Reaches out, and as he reaches out, the two of you notice that on the inside of his scraps that you see a little bit of blue skin.
And sorry, how do I apply this?
Oh, it's very easy. Just hold it in your hand like so. Close your eyes and make a wish.
I wish for Cristobal's soul to be returned to his body.
It worked! I'm glad you're back.
By the way, each of you, while you're looking at him, something about his face has changed.
What happened?
I died.
Yeah.
I believe.
Hang on.
What is? Whoa, whoa, whoa! That is a serious problem.
Yes, it's all right.
I am sorry. I do not know you.
He's a traveling salesman.
Master Failshin, at your service.
Mr. Fioshin, do you have any medical training, or perhaps something that can help to rid?
I did, and I traded it away.
Might we be able to trade you for any of the medical poultices you have for the directions to the Osaka?
What do you have that would be useful to me?
A favor.
A favor?
You may ask of me something at the time of your choosing. If my friends are not healed and her disease is not removed, I owe you nothing. And I will sign.
That's fair.
Cristobal, is it not up to me as well? The one receiving this?
You do not take anything from anyone. If I were to give you the choice, you would not take this. But it is my choice to give. So I will give.
He pulls out is a very, very large bone knife. He's incredibly good at what he does. He's very, very precise, but it's still excruciatingly painful as he cuts down from right about here all the way down the side of your arm. But he reaches in with his hand and you can see him digging around to try to grab something, and he pulls out a small little wriggling larva, and he reaches up and he pulls out a scroll. The aura starts to heal all of you. Failshen locks the chest back up, puts it back on Mammut, crawls back up on Mammut, and the last thing that he says as he's kind of meandering his way through the trees is over his shoulder, he says, "Tell Queen Mab I said hello." And then he disappears into the woods.
Do we know who Queen Mab is?
I know a Queen Mab? Oh no.
You begin making your way through these dark woods. You all travel this way for a while. As you're going that direction, you're kind of listening around and you hear wood snap. The trees themselves in this area are beginning to shift and move. Oh, no. And Cristobal wanders close to one of these trees and he's still recovering. So he leans on the tree for but a moment and the tree turns and wraps him up with its branches and pulls it up close to its head. Help me. Oh, no. And you notice that when it says that, the bark starts to peel and break away, and bits and pieces of that black fungus go with it. The heart is sick. Out of nowhere, this horrible thrashing, growling sound comes from the east, and tearing through the woods is this huge figure. An owl's head with antlers coming off of it.
Okay.
Two massive wings that could either be a bat wing, it's dark so you can't quite tell, or like a dragon's wings off of its front. The body of a bear. The hind legs look like they could either be a lion or some kind of predatory animal. And then the tail whips about and it looks like it's three tails that have been sort of woven together. It tears through and immediately latches onto the ant and starts ripping the ant apart with its massive claws.
Bahatha?
Its head turns towards you. It growls, and that growl, for some reason you understand. In the growl, it says, "Yes, sickness must destroy."
This is not the source of the sickness.
This is not the source of the sickness.
Where? Show.
Okay, can you just...
It lowers its shoulder down and extends its wing out.
Whoa.
To get on?
Yeah.
And KoKo gets up. Whoa.
Okay.
It immediately starts to burst forward into the heart of the dark wood. And that is where we will end our episode tonight.
That's so fun!
You don't necessarily remember exactly what happened. Everything was kind of a blur. Everything went white, and the next thing you remember, you're falling. You see panes of glass, reflective glass, coming up at you at blinding speed. And you try to move out of the way or twist or dodge or protect yourself, and you just keep hitting these panes of glass and they shatter beneath you. These panes of glass start to slow your descent and you land with a thud. Your vision clears and you're completely surrounded by a city that's being built and torn apart constantly. Immediately in front of you is a fountain made of glass. And off to the right is a beautiful bronze statue about 7 feet tall of a woman.
Hello? Hello? Is anyone there?
The bronze statue of the woman, her head turns like a metal grinding sound and looks over at you. Hello, welcome. This is the City of Glass. Would you like me to show you around?
Yes. Please, I would love to see your city.
And she starts to lead you past this fountain, past this canal. And the first area that you get into, it almost looks like a cathedral. There are large metal cranes that are raising up huge beams of metal, and they're building on one side of the building. And on the opposite side of the building, you see other machines tearing apart the structure and setting the material aside for another project. This is where messages are sent. Perhaps if you want to send a message to your father, here would be a good place. What would you like to say?
That you should feel no fault for our distance, as my fault as much as yours.
And she walks over and she picks up one of the glass birds, and she takes her left hand instead of her right hand, and she quickly etches on the side of it.
And I love you.
She finishes it very quickly, and then she lets it go, and you see this little glass pigeon fly away.
He is going to start moving towards
Sure.
the path where the pigeon went.
As you round the corner, you hear clanging sounds. You see these bronze automatons, and each one gets pulled forward on a conveyor belt and stamped. One of them gets stamped scholar, the next one gets stamped laborer, the next one gets stamped artist, and the last one gets stamped merchant. You're going down that alleyway, and you come into a clearing. And at this clearing, there's a massive wall. And in front of you, there is a channel filled with viscous clear liquid. Floating in this channel, 20, 30, 50 of these little glass baubles, each one carved into a babe, floating. And you notice that the channel splits. You see the two channels go into the wall. There's an opening, two openings in the wall, and one of them says rich and the other one says poor. And the baubles just bounce along and flow past the wall. And you notice that the bird that you sent flies up and over the top of that wall and on the other side. You must let me explain. This is the sorting channel. This is where it is decided who will be rich and who will be poor.
But it is arbitrary.
Yes, you are to see Lumbra.
Now?
Well, you must visit the wall. You must visit the wall of masks. And she starts walking towards the wall. She does not go to rich or to poor. There's a crack in the wall. As you crawl underneath and into this area, you notice that the light in here is darker, it's dimmer. And as you glance up, you notice that there's little blue balls of fire that are dancing around that are barely illuminating a wall. But it's no normal wall. It's colossal. And about every 2 to 3 feet, you see another mask. And it's odd when the blue flame dances about in front of this wall and illuminates the masks. You swear for a moment that the masks begin to speak. You made it. Welcome, welcome.
Why have you brought me here?
You came. Choose.
Choose what?
Choose to stay.
If I don't stay, what then?
Then you must serve the purpose. Progress, yes. Yes, the glove. Wear it. Humans have failed for far too long. Hush. Yes, hush.
I will serve the purpose. I will make you proud. I will help change the world. Tell me how to go back. I will build. I will create.
Put on the mask. You may have my mask, If you wish, I will serve another purpose.
I hope I see you again.
Perhaps you will.